Tired of defending the Helliverse and Vivziepop from my videos on has been what? So why is it blurred out? What? That's already concerning.
This is a big misunderstanding. You've got to believe me. Listen, I am telling you. You better listen to me, SpongeBob.
You hate Vivziepop, don't you?
Yes, I admit it, SpongeBob.
Okay, so after countless claims that I hate Vivziepop, you know what? The gloves are coming off. These are the things I absolutely cannot stand about her shows. At this
Why does he sound so nerdy? No offense, it's just he sounds so nasally and nerdy. Like I'm waiting for him to push up his glasses and go, actually, no offense to the guy, but still.
point, it's honestly not a secret anymore. Vivziepop simply cannot write to save her life.
Care Bears, prepare to stare. Care Bears, stare.
The power of friendship is strong within us!
And I don't mean that as a casual internet hater comment. I mean structurally, fundamentally, at the level where dialogue, pacing, and character motivations are supposed to function. Her shows operate on the same wavelength as the worst late career films from Tim Burton. Projects where the writing is embarrassing, where creative liberties are just genuinely questionable. But hey, some of the designs look kinda cool, so people give it a pass. At least those who buy trashy shirts like this at Hot Topic. That's the exact energy surrounding all of Vivziepop shows. Because
Hot Topic Hotel.
These characters talk often feels like torturing yourself through some of the worst dialogue put to screen. Yes, the swearing is part of it. That's a very common critique, and I'm guilty of bringing it out any chance I get as a knock at Vivziepop.
He's already dead!
But there's a far deeper issue at hand. It's Vivziepop's complete and total lack of nuance.
When I'm in a no nuance competition and my opponent is, I'm assuming that's her.
Conversations don't even reveal anything about the characters. They just shout personality traits at maximum volume. And while yes, you could say it's not entirely on her for the writing, as she definitely has other people write with her, she is the one who creatively drives every decision in the shows that she produces.
Oh, right.
To notice how she infects just about every show she works on, everything starts to fall apart. Undoubtedly, the poster child of her worst instincts is Charlie Morningstar. She comes across as
Vietnam flashbacks.
in a way that feels like less intentional characterization and more like just genuinely weak writing, because she barely communicates with anyone and just stumbles through the story that's clearly preset around her. Additionally, huge stretches of her shows feel like filler, where no one meaningfully interacts with one another. I'm not against filler in principle. Some of the
true, I guess. Wait, what? What was that about Bleach?
I'm not against filler in
For anyone that's studying Bleach, if you see this motherfucker skip 60 episodes.
Some of the best television episodes ever made can be technically considered filler, but here it just feels empty rather than enriching. Take Avatar's beach episode. In the hands of a less talented writer like Vivziepop, they would have just one-note wrote every single character. Would the Fire Nation's children be just simple one-note villains? Probably. But because they actually understand the concept of nuance, the characters all come off in their own flawed ways. Especially my absolute favorite, Worst Girl.
Okay, calm down. I didn't mean what I said. Look, maybe I just said it because I was a little jealous.
A lot of Hazbin Hotel is just Charlie siding with the very people who abuse Angel Dust and only makes her more insufferable to watch. Not interestingly flawed, but just a bumbling idiot that keeps making things worse for other characters and themselves. And just a quick reminder that if you want to support the channel, be sure to subscribe, drop a like, and if you want to go the extra mile for getting me seen by the algorithm, let me know what your biggest
Hey, is that Weird Al?
are. I'm sure I'm not the only one who has a massive love-hate relationship with the show. On another level, the women she writes in her shows just generally feel bare bones. Jokes like Vagie's name never evolving into anything deeper than just, haha, funny, her name is Vagie, and it's gonna stay that way forever, because Vivzie, again, refuses to kill her darlings. Even with cast changes that should have allowed more focus or development, screen time gets wasted on characters who contribute nothing.
Don't get me started on the Lucifer part. Like, my boy could have done so much more, and yet they just didn't do anything with him aside from using him as a glorified battery.
forcing the sense that the project has bitten off more than it can chew. I mean, for Christ's sake, they introduced Baxter as a totally not replacement character of Serpentius.
So is he like the new Penches?
Only for him to turn out as, guess what, literally just Serpentius with a different coat of paint. All because
Really? I mean, as far as I know, oh wow, 12 minutes. I guess he had some more screen time than I thought, but like, the guy did nothing except for the last part of it, and it's because, what was it? He was being treated well. That's his main reason. I think he also has a connection with Pentious, but yeah, I think he does have, like, they were friends, allies, something like that. I can't remember 100%, but yeah. And Pentious is still in the show, as far as I remember, just in heaven.
because he was a previously designed character from her earlier artworks. He's
Oh.
forcefully put into the show and adds absolutely nothing. He interacts at least once or twice with characters, and that's about it. What makes this especially frustrating is that there's an underlying artistic talent that is clearly there with her work. When she restrains herself in writing and in designs, things can actually be pretty well done. At the very heart of Vivzi's show's issues is that you can tell she's insanely talented. She has tons of ideas that when singled out are genuinely pretty damn awesome. Heaven and Hell, Sinners and Warring Angels. That is cool as shit. But she needlessly complicates every detail in between, which makes her shows feel impossible to actually engage with outside of having headcanon for how certain characters act off screen. Because God forbid she actually put to screen any moment with a character interacting with one another. There's simply
What
too
the?
much going on in her shows.
What's this?
And as I clued in, one of my biggest gripes is with the way she designs her characters. They're just flat out f***ing ugly. Every chance Viv gets, she makes her characters look garish and overly detailed, which is just flat out upsetting when you see she can actually draw human characters quite damn well. From Mrs. Mayberry to Serpentius. Hell, in my recent community post, people were genuinely gushing over how she drew American Dad characters. I am of those people as well. Viv can draw great character designs, but like everything she does, she feels the need to complicate and clutter everything with unneeded bloat for every well-designed.
I mean, isn't that like more so a criticism of the show's style as opposed to anything? Like, an artist can have an art style and everything, but like, criticizing how they design characters and subsequently how they make them, I guess I can kind of agree on simplifying them, but at the exact same time, if that's how they roll, like, that's essentially more criticizing their art style and subsequently what they prefer to draw and how they prefer to draw it. Like, I guess just request her to do better. I guess.
Luna, you have at least 10 other fucking Beelzebubs. Like, come on. What is...
Huh? What? Wait, I'm confused. So, you have the werewolf, I don't know, something wolf, and then this character. Why does everyone default to this character? Like, I don't know from where she is, but I know for a fact she, like, what, appears very briefly, or is it background character? Like, I know some other colorful characters exist as well, but like, why does everyone default to this one of all things? Is it because of the whole ordeal that it's supposed to be, what was it, the sin of gluttony or some nonsense like that? I don't know. Why did it all default to that one, though, of all things?
this? One of her biggest structural flaws in writing is simple. Nothing meaningful progresses. Episodes are flashy.
That I
music,
can agree
and
on.
hyperactive, but narratively, they feel frozen in.
I think it's because of the fact that they always focus on the song aspect of things. But it's crazy how High School Musical figured that out and manages to make it work. Meanwhile, a show that has like that's a cartoon show about heaven and hell can't figure out the whole High School Musical part thing. Like, it's either a musical and then everything else just kind of ceases, unless we have a song or subsequently something that develops the plot further. It's crazy. When High School Musical has better plots than this show, it's basically call it quits and do yourself a favor and not watch it again.
Place. Conflicts reset, emotional beats loop, and characters insist they're changing without ever actually changing. Charlie repeatedly tries to get people on her side, people call her a fucking moron, and then through absolutely no screen time whatsoever, they side with her through the power of friendship, and then quickly move on to going back to doing exactly what they were doing before. It creates the sense that the show is just stretching out very little story across a lot of runtime.
True,
Which is insane
true.
for me to say, when one of the biggest complaints of her shows is that 8 episodes just isn't enough. However, each episode typically follows a character like Charlie doing something idiotic until it ruins things further. Next to nothing of actual weight happens, and while I'd normally say that 8 episodes that are 30 minutes are to blame, after watching A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is only 6 episodes, with 30 minutes, it conveys far more in its brief runtime. A show that people complain they wish was
An 85, 100-word novella written ages ago.
longer, but in its brevity, says all it needs to say without any padding. But with Vivzi's writing, short episodes feel mind-numbingly long.
Trust me, bro, they have chemistry. I wrote them.
So poorly written. And what makes this even worse is that the implied backstories are often far more interesting than the actual plot we get. Take my favorite character I mentioned previously, Serpentius. Great human design that inspired tons of artists to draw him, clearly hints of history in the story, tons of fan intrigue, so you'd assume that Vivzi Pump would absolutely focus an entire episode emotionally on him.
It is crazy how they focus on more his snake design as opposed to like when they introduced this human design, to have him like shift and take it this human design in heaven, you know, like as opposed to like snake but good, they go, you know, non-sinner normal person. Could have been an interesting change, you know, like when you get redeemed you become more human as opposed to when in hell you become more animalistic. Could have been a nice little fun dynamic to show, you know, the demon characters human designs and vice versa, but like I don't know.
Instead, that potential gets dumped so we can watch him awkwardly wander through heaven with almost no exploration.
Oh yeah, don't get me started. Basically the whole point, this is from season 2 by the way, basically the whole point is to prove that, you know, Charlie's idea of redemption is now real with Serpentius, but instead of like, oh, I don't know, sending him to hell, broadcasting it for hell to see, you know, proving the whole ordeal and having an interesting discussion with who are willing to consider redemption, who are still pissed at the sinners, and subsequently, you know, the whole ordeal of was it worth killing people when they could have been redeemed? It doesn't have anything to do with that. It's like you show Serpentius, you drag it along, you introduce a pointless, well, not pointless, just more so like the villain's trying to start an army to fight heaven, but it's like it doesn't have any merit to it, and the whole ordeal with Serpentius being, you know, shown as a possibility for people to go to heaven is now done at the last goddamn episode. Literally an entire arc that could have built like to an epic like battle between demons, angels, several parties mashing together to create a cluster of a finale that was like, which ones prefer to still be demons, which ones would like to be redeemed, which are still pissed at heaven, which soldiers in heaven want to seek vengeance for the fact that Adam died, the whole ordeal with angels fighting other angels for the fact that now they can redeem people. It could have been really crazy finale, but no. In the end of the day, the whole ordeal with Serpentius being, you know, the first ever redeemed person and everything is shown in the end. And then it's just like, well, congratulations. People can try to go to heaven. Now let's try it. Like, are you for real? Like, it's basically anything that's finally happening that develops the plot happens at the end of the episodes. At the end of each season, more so. Season 1 had the whole ordeal with the heaven and everything. Something happens somewhat in between, and then near the end it's like, here's the conclusion. Here's the actual story development. Same thing with Season 2. We got introduced to something, some stuff happened in between. here's the end of season 2 and subsequently how things are gonna start evolving in the story. Again, season 3 really just better be good, otherwise I'm gonna pull a Markiplier like with Bumpy Playtime Chapter 5 and just say, I'm not gonna be watching this show ever again. I don't care what happens.
Of who he was or why his redemption matters at all. Heaven once again as well is reduced to a bunch of vapid gag characters because Viv again refuses to write anything with a hint of nuance. This episode genuinely made me ask, why didn't we get a full episode? You know, exploring his character and his motives. But no, the series constantly points towards depth, then refuses to go there in favor of the stupid V's versus Heaven plot. Then there's the cast bloat. Characters appear with dramatic framing, musical numbers, and celebrity voices, and then they absolutely contribute nothing to the story. I think the clearest example of this is the character tied to Fallout Boy. They hyped him up with promotional videos.
Fallout Boy?
He shows up, gets treated like a joke.
Really departed Dad. I really just wanted to say.
Shut up, Abel. Adam didn't even fucking like you.
I know.
Sings once and disappears behind the vague promise that he'll matter later. Do we get to see his motives? How he feels about the death of his father? Yes, but in the last episode for less than 2 minutes.
Exactly. See what I mean? Literally, something with a character or the story. Nothing happens in between the beginning and end. And in the final episode, literally everything gets clustered at the end. It's like, what? What was stopping you from doing it beforehand?
But he's cool because Vivsy acknowledged the detail of giving him a dented halo because, you know, Cain and Abel was a thing.
Honestly, if I saw that damn thing in my living room, I'd stomp on it until it was a small brown stain.
Wow, bravo, Viv. So much of her writing feels like she assumes she's absolutely cooking, but all it is her setting up things for later seasons. What about the current season, Vivsy? Can we have something current in this season that's hype? Getting to the problem that I think is the most fatal to her shows. The logic of heaven and hell themselves. Hell somehow isn't torment. It's basically a chaotic party people enjoy. So what's the
It's limbo.
What are the stakes? Why would redemption even matter in the first place? Meanwhile, Charlie Morningstar gets compared to Hitler as a bad thing?
I'm saying he's expecting me. What? Don't compare me to Hitler.
Wouldn't those in hell look up to someone like
It's a joke. Haha, you know.
that? What the hell is the
Yeah, pretty much. It's like that. I understand everything now. Doesn't get it at all. Yeah.
logic, guys? Additionally, the redemption theme should be powerful. Morality being messy is great storytelling ground. But heaven ends up feeling like a palette swamp with no philosophical weight, barely populated, barely even explored at all, just emotionally empty. And the fan favorite character that is given at least some emotional weight is only shown in at least 2 episodes. Yes,
Crazy.
Gravity absolutely slaps, but
Yep.
she only gets like 1 moment, and then we're told she'll be back in Avengers Doomsday. Before, when Sir Precious
Yeah,
finally
pretty
arrives
much.
there, a moment that should redefine the entire narrative, the show instantly undercuts it by making him miss hell. Which, hey, I get it, he misses his found family. But again, it mucks up whatever the hell the show is trying to convey. It literally feels like heaven and hell are simply reduced to background decoration, 99% of the time. And arguably, the worst part of the show, a core fundamental issue of all of her shows, the writing. Characters never speak like people, they speak like exaggerated internet archetypes, delivering punchlines. Every emotion is shouted, every joke is overly explained, every scene feels like a desperate attempt to be clipped into a gif. Nuance, the thing that makes shows with drama work, is completely absent, which is why every serious moment lands flat or is unintentionally hilarious. And if the main show that she has struggles with nuance, shows like Hell of a Boss completely removes it entirely. The shorts are basically pure flanderization of all of her worst writing habits. One personality trait per character, one repeated joke, maximum volume delivery. There you go. Ironically, this fucking gift that has been produced from that episode has made me laugh even more than anything Vivsy has ever written. There's just about no weight to any of the writing she has for her characters. Take somebody like Alistair, who by every means should be my favorite character, but he just feels like a flat-out joke that's repeated over and over and over again. And even if he somehow ends up becoming more important in the next season, like she does with every character moment in her shows, it's too little too late. Here's the truth of the matter. Okay? If Hazbin Hotel were simply terrible, it wouldn't matter. What makes it painful is that you can see that there's a better show hiding inside of it. A version with real character depth, real moral tension, real emotional payoff. But instead of reaching that version, the series keeps choosing louder jokes, flatter drama.
I don't know, man. Like, aside from the pilot that, like, showed that potential, since season 1, it's been kind of, basic and bland. Like, I haven't seen that, like, spark and promise from the pilot be in season 1, let alone in season 2. It's like it's regressed significantly. I don't know, like, that's my opinion of it, at least.
An endless setup with zero delivery. At this point, we could almost assume that the next season is again just gonna be more setup for the last season. And with us being 2 seasons in and several shorts online, it stops feeling like growing pains. It just feels intentional. It feels like this is as quote-unquote good
Average tomato. Wow, that's a lot
as
of
it gets.
praise. Really? Do people really like that? Do people really like it that much? Like, damn.
And
You guys are kind of brainwashed into this,
and
huh?
that's the real conclusion for me. Hazbin Hotel and Hell of a Boss don't fail because of the
What? What do you think causes the internet to be so allergic to the Helliverse? Vivzy Pop's behavior? The design? The fans? Bad writing? Wow. Crazy how the bad writing seems to be the highest. The closest thing that's basically in the center is the behavior from Vivzy and the fans. I'm guessing fandoms can be very toxic, but even I remember her like having a crash out, I remember as well. But yeah, like I said, crazy how I'm on the opinion with everyone else. The designs are literally like the least of my problems. Granted, they are very colorful, but I kind of like it. I don't mind having bombastic designs here and there, or in several cases, but at the exact same time, that's like a criticism of basically her art and design, more so needing to be reworked or revamped in some cases. But again, I don't hate it. I'm vibing with it, I guess. That's kind of, but yeah, writing is something I think everyone can unanimously agree on is, I think, the big problem.
the budget, the animation, or even her ambition. It fails because the writing at its core isn't strong enough to support the ideas. And no amount of cool designs or flashy songs can fix that. That is all, guys.
Yep.
I will see you next week. I hope this rant was as cathartic as it was for you.
Is that her
as it was
flipping the
for me.
bird? I need context on that image. That's crazy, though.
Bye.